What is going on, my friend? Welcome back to another episode of What's Your One Thing? I'm your host, Jordan Hiller, and this is the show where I pick apart the clues and pieces that purpose-driven people leave behind. And holy crap, that was a lot of P's. Anyways, today's episode is special. I sat down with Nick Pretasky from Humanistic Leadership to talk about what it really feels like to find your purpose. Nick drops the best definition of purpose I've ever heard. So without further ado, let's dive into today's episode. It doesn't have to be the dictionary definition, but to Nick, what is your definition of purpose?
This is completely off the cuff, so
Yeah,
maybe we need to delete this moment. If you can edit this out. The two words that pop, honestly, is significance. Mm-hmm. Finding the significance of an organization or finding your significance. I think purpose for some people is, I want to find my significance. I want to find when I matter most, right? Because that's what I think that's an animal primal instinct. So significance pops to me, and then also existence pops to me. And I think existence is more on the organizational piece or individual. It's like, if I wasn't here, or if that organization was not there, what would the community be missing? What would they not have without that group? Or what would they not have without that leader? That level of, that's an existence statement. That's why you exist. That's a deep purpose that you're serving. So those two things, to me, it's like a combination between your significance and your purpose, like the role that you play in that community.
All right. Well, that's definitely not getting deleted. When you were describing the existence part, I started to get a little goosebumpy. You should write that down. I'll send it to you because that needs to go on the website. Wow. It's so, and it sounds maybe a little I can't talk. English is my first language. Existential, but it's not. And you hit the nail on the head, because that's kind of how I feel. Is I want my purpose to have meaning. If you talk to anyone with severe depression, they have this missing part where they feel like, hey, if I wasn't here, it wouldn't matter. And I'm happy to report that I've never felt that way. But the way you just described it, I do feel that sometimes is, hey, I want my thing, my significance to matter. So I want what I do here on this earth, on this planet now, to make a difference. And boy, that was probably the best definition of purpose I've ever heard. That was amazing. I appreciate that. So I think to dive in a little bit, we've got Nick from Humanistic Leadership, and just wanted to give people a little bit of backstory. So you've been doing this for 20 plus years?
I've been working with leaders and being a leader for, over 20 years. Humanistic Leadership itself is just a little over 2 years now.
Before that, you started your journey doing the backcountry or rugged wilderness tours, everything from Maine to Alaska. You do a lot of analogies or ties between summiting the mountain. It's a lot of these parables between the two, like physically summiting a mountain and then as a team doing it together. Walk me through your journey into that discovery of humanistic leadership. What brought you to where you are today? And is this what you feel is your purpose?
Yeah, so in the backcountry, I had a lot of opportunities to lead some amazing trips, to guide and to be a trip leader. And what I found was a set of skills. There were a set of mindsets. There was definitely components to being able to help others get up a mountain, or help others paddle to a glacier, or help others, do 35 days on the trail and not wanting to quit. And what were some of those? Well, I felt like that's what leading humans was, and showing up for whatever they might need. Sometimes it's to lessen their pack load. Sometimes it's to teach a skill of paddling. And sometimes it's just building a bond or a belonging, and to give belief to someone that they can actually do it. Eventually, when I returned back to the front country in my life, and I started to have opportunities to grow in organizations, I became a principal. What I started to recognize in all organizations, Jordan, was there was a different philosophy leading in the front country than there was leading in the back country. That 60% of people being on board with a new initiative was going to be enough. But in the back country, that would never happen. You can't summit a mountain with only 60% of the people you're leading. That could be honestly life or death, or it could definitely destroy a group. And no guide summits the mountain without their team. So I wanted to bring that back to any group that I work with. How do we set the conditions in the environment? How do we work with our team so everybody summits the mountain together, no matter what your organizational initiative is? And so humanistic leadership is really helping others do things that they never thought were possible.
So there was two interesting things. One was you started this journey in the backcountry. When you originally started, was that what you thought your career path? We're going to do that as a forever thing? Talk me through that backstory just a little bit.
Yes, I went into university to study to be a teacher. I love working with people. I had an opportunity to study abroad in Australia. And then inside that opportunity, I had an opportunity to learn trip leading skills. And I started to recognize I really like to work with people in the backcountry. I really like that idea of adventure education and being in the outdoors and that level of challenge. And so through a lot of other opportunities as I returned back to the States, that part of me grew. I ended up finishing my degree to get my teaching license, but I felt like through adventure education, there was maybe more opportunity for people to dig in a little bit more into the soul, into the mindset, into who they were, but also sort of just in the back, like always taking note of what really does motivate a human? What can someone do to set those conditions up where they would want to be successful? How do I help them identify that? And I kind of really started to think through that so that no matter what group I was in or no matter when I returned back to the classroom, I would be able to leverage that. Because for me, what really motivates me deeply is watching someone else get something that they didn't think they could get.
All right. Repeat that last line one more time.
Yeah. Watching someone do something that they didn't think they could do, or honestly helping a team or helping an individual do things they thought was impossible, and now they're doing it. It's such a human experience to see someone's facial expressions, body language when they hit something, they do it, right? Whether it's it's hit a free throw to win a game, it's get the math problem that they haven't, it's get the grade that they've been looking for, it's to make the musical, it's to get up the rock. I mean, when you see that moment, like it is absolutely inspiring, and it's what keeps me going. And for me, that's been my journey, and that's what humanistic leadership is all about: is to create those moments for others.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. As you're walking through that and explaining that, I wholeheartedly can agree. I absolutely love seeing that aha moment, I'll call it, when somebody is able to get over that hurdle of I can't do it to, oh my gosh, I did just do it. And it's an amazing feeling. It's hard to put myself in that mindset of why would you not want to see somebody else succeed? Because I feel like if you succeed solo, that is a 1-to-1. But if you are with somebody else and they succeed, you've now exponentially grown that. It's not just them, it's you and whoever else is around you. It's just an incredible feeling. So it's just really nice to hear somebody else articulate it as well as you can.
You have to enjoy that journey too, because all those things, those getting up that rock wall, it was a lot of failures, a lot of mistakes, a lot of frustration, a lot of wanting to quit. On the trail or trying out for the musical, you might have like missed a bunch, or you might have been second fiddle a couple of times. And so some of it also is enjoying the moment, because you know when you put in the work, you are going to get it. You know when you have the right conversations with a team to set that environment, you know it's going to come. A lot of it's lagging indicators. But so when that moment hits, it's sort of a quick memory of all of that struggle to say it was worth it. And as you go through that, you know that if you pay attention to what's right in front of you and you consistently show up for others the way that they need you to show up for them, every moment, it will happen. I don't know when, but I know it will. So you can't ignore that journey up the mountain. It's still there, but you want to enjoy it, because then that when it finally happens, the aha moment, it's even that much more magical, because of the grind that happened before.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm starting to put some pieces together. So I really like where this conversation's going. So I think going back to my second question is when you did 10 plus years, you called it adventure education, which is amazing. I've never heard that term before. So that's really cool. And then you kind of brought that back into the teaching world. So you were in that principal role, the teacher role. Did you see a problem? And is that how you started to connect the dots from the past to the present? Because it kind of reminded me of, in startup culture, they always say the best ones that succeed are the ones that scratch your own itch. So it's when you are trying to solve a problem that you have. That's how, Airbnb started. That's all, name whatever top tech company over the last 5-10 years is the founders were just solving their own problem. And that's kind of what it sounded like to me, at least, was you came back into this corporate world and you started to realize that, hey, some people are trying to drive this train with only 60% on board. And you're like, this would never work. And then the gears started turning. You started to connect the dots of, why can't I do the similar things that I was doing here in this environment? And I mean, am I way off base, or kind of talk me through that transition from when you realized that you could connect the two?
I think the realization that I've had in what I would call the front country is people move through opportunities, whatever organization that they're working with. And when they're high achievers, when they are really good at their job, they individually contribute really well. They're the ones that tend to get shoulder tapped, and they're the ones that tend to move up, right? Mm-hmm. And I think at some point, as you move up or you advance, we have set up a society that's important. Mom wants to know when I'm going to be the manager, right? Mom wants to know when I'm going to be the leader of that company. But at some point, the job description is different, right? The job description to lead someone up the mountain is different than being the best climber of the mountain. And where it has hit me is, I think there are many leaders in our country that are put in those positions. They didn't realize the job they were signing up for and the skills that they need, and they have not received the training or the awareness, the actionable mindsets that it takes to lead another human or to lead a group of humans around a common purpose. No fault of anybody. But I think our system hasn't been set up in order to truly train others on what it means to lead. So then how do you show up? What are those behaviors? What do those actions look like where someone would want to follow you? And I've recognized that time and time again, whether that was other school systems that I'm working with nonprofits, corporate manufacturers. You see people struggling with, I never really realized that, Nick. I didn't realize those skills, or I haven't really thought through even what leader means, or the word leadership, Jordan, is a verb. It's a relationship between two people or a group. It's a dyad. And to really recognize that that's not a noun. You can't be in a leadership position, right? You can have a relationship with others, and to understand what that is, that's sort of the thing that I stumbled on. And kind of going back to the original, I want to help people show up that way so that they can feel fulfilled as a leader. And that's their aha, and they see their team functioning, and it's, I can do this. Because a lot of times the drive home is lonely and it's frustrating. And why is my team not doing this? Or what is happening? Or what is that? And to really self-reflect and say, how can I show up differently tomorrow to help my team be more successful?
I want to use this same analogy that you just used with the leadership and swing it back to purpose.
I think what you're doing by asking people these kinds of questions, or helping people find their mission in life, their purpose, that's what leaders do, Jordan. That's the whole job of a leader, is to help others figure out what their purpose is and align it to the work that they're doing, and helping them feel fulfilled, because we feel more fulfilled when we matter. We feel more fulfilled when we're close to our existence. Like it's really what leaders, that's their whole job. It's not to do anymore. It's not to high achieve. It's not to be the lead climber. It's to be in the back now, helping other people fulfill what they need to get as close as they can to why they exist. But the other piece that you kind of helped me just reflect on, which I really appreciate, is you can't do it in isolation. Like it typically, because we're human, it involves others. It involves that community and your role within it. It's not so I'm going to go find your purpose, but it's really your purpose among others. That existence and that significance means that you're playing a part in something greater. No matter what your purpose ends up being, it still has a connection or a relationship with others around you.
Yes. And I guess to tie this back into my whole personal development journey, there is, I'm drawing a blank on his name, Jim Rohn. There we go. So Jim Rohn is, you get paid for the value you bring to the marketplace. So you always have to make sure that you are giving more value than you take. And I think that's a good way to segue in here. So I feel like we have hit some good threads on leadership and how that ties into helping others, not only in finding our purpose, but allowing others to thrive, but to bring it into maybe a little bit more of a personal feeling. So somebody that says, hey, I'm not trying to be a leader. I'm not trying to help others find their purpose. I just want to make make it through my day to day without hating my job? What can I do to find a passion or purpose on the inside? So along your journey, think about it more internally. When you are helping these people discover their strengths that they didn't know they have, and now they can achieve, be it climbing over that rock or figuring out how to lead that team, what does it do inside? Like, what are the ways that you feel that you know that you're on the right path? So how does that feel inside?
Well, that's a deep question.
I'm trying to figure out life, Nick, here. We gotta.
Yeah, right? Yeah, holy cow. If we get there, that might be one of the hardest questions that I've ever been asked in my life. This isn't an interview, because this would be one of those like, should I just grab my coat? Like, are we done here?
Yeah.
I don't know about that one.
And honestly,
yeah.
I would love that idea. If you just say, I don't know, some people are so afraid to say they don't know, and they dance around the question. But like you said, it's a journey. And it might be something too hard to describe, but I mean, is there anything internal?
Yeah, in full vulnerability, I mean, I work with many people and I question it all the time. Like, I question, am I helping them get it? Right? Like, am I, like, they're happy. Hey, thank you. Thank you, Jordan. This was an amazing conversation. Or thank you. That helped me so much. Is that the aha? Like, I don't, right? Because sometimes you're searching for this fireworks display. And it's not always there, because people react in different ways. And if you have a one-on-one conversation, you don't necessarily know how everything's happening outside of that conversation. So sometimes it's a little bit like, I don't know if I'm there. And I think we all as humans ask ourselves difficult questions in our mind. Maybe we don't want to share it out loud, but it's like, am I even good enough? Like, am I the one that's going to help? I mean, if your purpose is to help others reach their full human potential, holy cow, talk about self-reflecting sometimes and wondering if I'm not doing it, right? I don't know if it always just pops. For me, I think that the simple answer, which I think when we oversimplify this, I think we're boiling it down too much and we're not allowing it to be human. But we write goals with very specific objectives, say, let's get better at something so that we know that we're tracking. That value word that you used, or some people like to use ROI, return on investment. Like, we really want to make sure we're at least making steps up that mountain, because we might not always get to that top, but how much closer, and how do we know we're getting closer? So sometimes that happens, but man, I'll tell you, I don't know sometimes. Because I guess to wrap that in a package, who am I to know if you hit it, right? Who am I to know that you've nailed it, or you reached that summit, or whatever? And maybe it's a false summit and there's another summit anyway. Only you internally would really feel that. My hope is that I'm at least putting you on that course. And my hope is that you have someone along the way to ask those tough questions and have those reflections. And then to set up an environment where you don't need me.
And I wonder, to kind of poke into that a little bit more, I wonder if that's what continues to drive you, because there isn't always that satisfied aha. You're like, okay, well, not quite sure about that one, so maybe I got to continue. I've got to get to the next one. I've got to get to the next one. So it's almost this internal safety switch to make sure you keep doing it. It's kind of like that internal survival mechanism. It just kind of keeps us in that moment and driving forward. So I appreciate you for being vulnerable, like you said, and expressing what most people probably feel all the time is, hey, I'm not quite sure if this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So to hear somebody that is really deeply ingrained in their passion and their purpose and their why, it is really cool to hear that. So I do love the fact that you gave an actionable tip. So writing down, you said it was either those goals or just making sure you're headed, you can't even say the right direction, just to make sure that you are moving, making progress, because if you don't have that initially set up, you don't have a baseline. I'm sure everyone's heard the expression, success leaves clues. Why can't purpose? Why can't finding your why leave clues? I don't know the proverb, but they say if you want to know the way forward, ask somebody coming back. If I want to figure out my purpose or my why, stop dwelling so much internally. Let's have some conversations with people that have.
I mean, I think that's pretty close to it. And it's not even about, at least in this work that I'm seeing with you, it's not even about this conversation as much as it's about when people watch your conversations or they watch the library of your conversations, they start to learn the journey that everyone else is on. And whether it's entertainment because it's interesting, or it's an opportunity, it's an open door for them to reflect on their own self and say, I did that, or I did that. I mean, as we're going through this universe, just bouncing off asteroids, like I feel like that is it. You're providing opportunities for people to join others' journeys. And you're sort of, helping create that, or at least set that up. And I think that's awesome. You're helping others. You're an influencer, right? Yeah.
All right,
Right.
everybody. Thank you for joining us today. Nick from Humanistic Leadership. Where can people check out everything that you do?
Yeah, I think the best way is humanisticleadership.org. It's humanistic, there's a dash, and then it's leadership.org on my website. There's ways that you can contact me. Yeah, let's just talk. Let's figure out where you're at, and let's learn a little bit more about each other. I'd love to help anybody on that journey up the mountain, but also sometimes we just need whether it's an accountability partner or a guide. That just kind of helps us back on that track, whether you're an organization or a business. Love to talk to you.
All right, Nick, take care. I wish you the best, you and the family, everybody, the animals, and we should do this again. I really appreciate it.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate you. Take care. Thanks for sharing the idea that the editing is not fun for you, because I'm glad you're just being honest. You play it off like you like it. You got outtakes sometimes. I mean, you got stuff, so it makes it seem like, wow, he must love that part of it. And the fact that you don't, I mean, I almost wanted to fall off my beach ball, because I would never have guessed that. What's the end game for you then? Like what's next for you?
I started doing presentations outside of my day-to-day recycling job. I actually got to do a presentation for student council organization for the state of Wisconsin. I had 2 back-to-back 30-minute presentations. First one, amazing. I'm sure you've had that where you hit a presentation with a group and they felt it. I think they got some value out of it. It was based on values, ethics, and communication, and it was awesome. Well, I'm riding that high.
That's
and
cool.
The next group comes in. I'm the last talk before their banquet dinner. So it's like 5 o'clock. They've been at it since 9 a.m. And the first thing one of the students goes, she walks down, she doesn't even sit. She goes, "Is this gonna be a speech?" I'm like, "No, it's like an interactive talk. I've got jokes. I'm gonna be up here like a crazy person." And so she goes, "So it's a speech." And then there was one point where I talk about active listening. And I'm asking people questions, I'm getting the audience involved. And she goes, "Why don't you active listen to me and stop talking?"
The whole group, could the whole group hear that comment?
Oh yeah, whole group could hear that comment, for sure.
That's amazing. That's
for
amazing.
sure. I'm extravagantly sliding the chair and I can hear everyone getting up. And I turn and look, literally the entire audience has now stood up and are walking out the back doors. The girl that had been giving me shit the whole time, she looks at me and she goes, "It's 5:30. And they all just turn up and they leave. The director comes over, she's like, "How did it go?" I was like, "Great, went fantastic. I only had 3 more. It's fine. It's cool." Hooey, what a ride. Today, we defined purpose as a mix of what matters most and what the world would miss if you were gone. Now it's your turn, okay? You need to start tracking your purpose progress this week. God damn those P's again. All right, just jot something down, anything that you felt made you move closer to your why. And if you can, share it with me. Seriously, I'd love to hear from you. To take a deeper dive, remember to follow Nick over at humanisticleadership.org. And hey, if you or your team need a motivational pep talk, I'm your guy. You didn't even know you needed. Alrighty. Until next week, peace out, Girl Scout.